Thank you so much, Amber. I just want to make sure too. Can I just get a thumbs up from Amber? Everybody can still see my screen? Everybody can see the presentation? Excellent. Well, thank you all so much for joining us here today for the 2025 Games and Gaming Roundtable General Member Orientation. We're both going to be bopping back and forth between a bunch of slides to offer some information to you all today about how you can learn more about GameRT, the Games and Gaming Roundtable, and how you can participate in so much of the really, really cool, innovative stuff we're doing. And even just by showing up for this today, you are already demonstrating leadership from a games and libraries perspective. So I just want to give you kudos already for that. For starters, we'll do a little bit of an introduction here. My name is Chris Baker. I go by he, him. I am the apprentice mage this year, which is technically president-elect. We've recently changed our titles from president-elect, president, and past president to apprentice mage, mage, and sage mage, which you'll learn a little bit more about later. And currently, I work as a public library consultant and games and learning consultant for the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction, which is Wisconsin State Education Agency. So go ahead, Amber.
Hi, everybody. My name's Amber Sewell, she, her. I am the current reigning mage of the Games and Gaming Roundtable. I'm also a teaching and learning librarian at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, where I work primarily with students in their general education courses, but also run a lot of fun games like Game Changer for libraries. If you want to hear more about that, come to our March MiniCon. Uh, but yeah, I am here. I am Mage. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. And yes, please check out March MiniCon. There's information on the Games and Gaming Roundtable blog right now about that. You can still submit a presentation proposal. We'll get to that a little bit later, but put that on your radar, everybody. So in general for today, we're going to go over everything that we feel will equip you all to be really start participating in a lot of the Games and Gaming Roundtable activities, starting to make your voices heard as people interested in the games and library space nationally. For starters, we're just going to do a general overview of the Games and Gaming Roundtable, including the roundtable structure, kind of how we're organized. We'll talk a little bit about all sorts of friends and other cool people that we have that are involved in shenanigans nationally when it comes to games, learning, and libraries. We'll highlight any major events that are happening right now or things that you might want to keep an eye on for the future. And most importantly, we're going to really try to hammer home how you all can get involved, how you can participate in some of the outstanding committees we have, how you can info share through the Games and Gaming Roundtable for some of your own initiatives you might be working on or collaborations or projects. And then we'll, of course, have some time for Q&A. I want to, before we move on, just highlight, though, you'll see on on the first slide here, Amber has a really cool on the bottom right side icon of her. I don't have one yet, maybe one in the future. So there's just a geeky one of me as Mario for now. Just wanted to put that out there. So that's why they look so different.
All right, so I'm going to start with just a general overview of the Games and Gaming Roundtable. If you haven't joined us or if you just saw games and were like, that's cool, I'll give them 15 bucks. Um, Next slide, please. This is a lot of information that's available on our website, so I'm not going to read it all to you. But essentially, the Games and Gaming Roundtable is a place for networking and collaboration for library workers of all types who use game and gaming in the libraries. There are a lot of us academic librarians, a lot of public librarians, little less school librarians because their schedules aren't as flexible, so it's harder for them to make some of our meetings and regular events. But we're always welcoming. Um, GameRT was formed in 2011, so we've got a good amount of experience putting on a bunch of different cool programs and building conversation and community. Um, our mission, again, like I said, we want to foster collaboration and communication about the importance of games and gaming in all types of libraries. We want to share resources to help people implement games. Speaking from personal experience as an academic librarian, my experience is you tend to be one person in a whole building full of people, and you really love games. And other people might love games too. They don't either aren't in a position to implement games or don't have the oomph to or the space in their job to implement games. You tend to be one in a building. So this is a great place to connect with other people who are the one in their building. And then, of course, we create partnerships with people in the gaming community, whether those are people in other professional networks, game publishers. We try to build links between all of us. Next slide, please. And to address those membership fees, where do they even go? If you pay to join GameRT, how does that help us? Some of that goes to ALA overhead. We also have a grant that we are able to give out to one or two libraries a year to help fund really cool game initiatives in different types of libraries. Somebody mentioned you've joined us at ALA Annual. We have a huge presence at ALA Annual, so the membership fees also help go to outfitting our exhibit space, helping us put on programs like ALA Play. And it also helps with subscriptions for our content producing software. We do a good amount of virtual programming, and so this helps us maintain subscriptions to things like Streamlabs. So when we play Honey Heist on Twitch, it looks very cool. Next slide, please.
Now we'll get in a little bit of the roundtable structure. So you have an idea of some of the shenanigans that we get up to, and the things that Amber listed. Those are pretty encompassing, and they're available throughout the year, which is what I think we really try to do is make sure that there are always things happening with the Games and Gaming Roundtable. So there's always things you can get involved with, and there's always opportunity for networking and socializing, which we'll get into a little bit later. But it's important to understand how the roundtable structure is kind of organized, which is how we have a succession plan year by year to continue leadership and to look at how we want to innovate with future efforts as well. So currently, this is our executive board for the Games and Gaming Roundtable. We have the outstanding president, Amber Sewell here, aka the Mage. Then past president, Danielle Costello, who is the Sage Mage. Danielle is still heavily involved in Games and Gaming Roundtable and leads one of our committees. And then myself, I am the apprentice mage slash president-elect. Of course, I mentioned my name is Chris Baker. And then in addition to that, we have our treasurer, Thomas Vose, our secretary, Liz Brown, and our counselor with ALA, Terry Grief. In terms of the broader organization, we have members at large that participate in things like voting and giving folks feedback and advisement on the board in terms of the direction that we head in with some of our initiatives. So our members at large as of this moment are Molly Porter, Carl DiNardo, Kathy Dejnowski, Jennifer Taylor, Hannah Mabry Wong, and Joshua Newport. And of course, then we also have, I'll let Amber explain a little bit more about this, but what this role is, but we have a staff liaison with ALA named Tina Coleman as well.
Yeah, Tina, we are just one of the roundtables that Tina liaises to, and she helps communicate between us as a roundtable and ALA as a larger organization, making sure that we're kept abreast of decision making on ALA's part and how that impacts us, as well as communicating our needs to the larger ALA. And then next slide, please. Just the rest of our organization, we have our committee chairs. Sometimes these are our members at large. That is one of the duties that we can call upon them for, is to serve as committee chairs. These are not voting members of GameRT, but they do help steer the work we do in really important ways. And then we have general membership. These are people who are on our committees and helping us do the awesome work that GameRT does. These can also be people who have joined, but either don't have the time or haven't found the space to join one of the committees, but still engages in our Discord and our blog, and the many events that we'll talk about next.
I should also mention too that George in chat, our Sage Mage mentioned that we also call our members at large Meeples at large because, of course, if the shoe fits, Meeples at large. But yeah, sorry, Amber, go ahead.
Mhm. Just a couple of other friends. This is something that GameRT really prides itself on, is creating networks of people with overlapping interests. Danielle, in particular, has done an amazing job fostering collaboration with other roundtables. So we regularly collaborate with the Games and Gaming, or the Graphic Novels and Comics Roundtable, Film and Media Roundtable, Maps and Geospatial Information Roundtable. They do such cool stuff during some of our spectaculars. Check out Queertacular recordings and their queer maps, and then IRT. We also have the IMLS grant here, which, Chris, did you want to speak a little to that?
Yeah, some of you may have heard me speak about this in various circles before. This is a grant project that was a fiscal year 2024 National Leadership Grants for Libraries funded project. That's a 3-year project that the IMLS is funding. Wisconsin State Library, which is us, me, and my boss Ben, and then the Washington State Library are co-PIs on this grant project. It's called the National Games and Libraries Project, and essentially what we're doing, we're just right now finishing up a really comprehensive literature review about both historical and contemporary articles, papers, research that's been done in the past about games-based library services. Year two, we're going to be developing more of a robust replicable, scalable model for implementing games-based library services at every level, whether you're a small rural library that has very little budget, or whether you're a state library agency that wants to start implementing games on a wider scale. And then in year three of this, so everybody can expect this, hopefully the deliverables of this to be produced by midway through 2027 or so, a little bit towards late 2027. We'll have a really robust games-based library services toolkit that will encompass all that we've learned over these 3 years, all the research, all the data collection we've been doing, and more, and offer people a free in perpetuity way to pick and choose what'll work best for their library space. So just wanted to put that on folks' radar that we're doing this right now. We're learning a lot, and I cannot wait to share what we're learning with everybody. If you'd like to participate in surveying and data, then please feel free to reach out to me afterwards, and I'll be happy to add you to our list. And yeah, I see George in chat. I also want to highlight another member of the Games and Gaming Roundtable. Amazing fellow named Colin Post, who's over at the University of North Carolina. He also, in the exact same year, fiscal year 2024, him and a team were awarded a grant to similarly look into research of access for video games and rights management, especially digital video games and rights management, and maybe a platform that could allow people to check out digital video games in their libraries later. And you can you can look on Google for the Digital Games and Libraries Project, and you'll see Colin's website there. So I highly recommend folks check that out. And if you're interested, reach out to any of us to get involved in our grant projects. But I'll give it back to Amber to talk about some of our other shenanigan friends.
Yeah, we also form partnerships outside of libraries, like I said, making connections with game publishers and other people involved in games is really important to the work we do. We have people like, is it GOG? Is it GOG? How do we say it?
GOG, I believe.
Dog. Beautiful. Is just one of the lovely people donating games at ALA Annual. We have games that are open for play at ALA Play. We also have a shelf of games that people can come to our little exhibit booth and play during conference that we raffle off at the end, which is really fun. We work with publishers like Cards Against Humanity, who often serves as a sponsor for International Games Month and is a donor for our Game On grant. We also feature a lot of cool people on our live stream. We do a vast amount of virtual programming. So we've had people like Jake Cormier or Daniel Reynolds, who are game designers who come talk about the games that they've designed and how they intersect with libraries. We've had people like Ninth Level Games come on, and we have demoed some of their games and explained how we would use them in library programming. So we really interact with a wide variety of folks involved in games in some capacity.
Now we'll speak a little bit about some of the major events that occur annually that you can expect, but also we'll get into a couple of things you might want to keep your eye on specifically right now. Ultimately, we have things throughout the year, like I mentioned. The things to kind of keep an eye out for are fall, off in October. We have our spectaculars, great get-togethers where folks can dig into all sorts of games-based initiatives and network. We have the International Games Month, which is being celebrated right now in November. So hopefully you all are celebrating International Games Month. I noticed our past president, George, popped a link into chat that folks can go check out to learn about some of the sponsors for International Games Month and some of the other activities that are happening. We mentioned March MiniCon. This is a virtual mini conference that happens last year's, or I should say this year's 2025 was about video games in libraries. Video games are my personal passion. I had the honor of presenting at the March MiniCon, and I will go on record as saying that I think this was one of the best organized virtual conferences I have ever participated in. Everybody who managed it was so excellent at coordinating it and communicating. And from what I understand, we had a lot of people, even in Wisconsin, my neck of the woods, that participated and really, really enjoyed it. So right now, as we'll mention later, the call for participation, application proposals for doing 15-minute presentations as a part of March MiniCon 2026 is open, and I'd recommend you add that to your agenda of things to do. And then, of course, as Amber mentioned, one of the big things that we offer every year is having a big presence at ALA Annual. Obviously, this will generally be in June or July. This coming year, 2026, it'll be in Chicago. We have an exhibit booth. There is an ALA play night that I've participated in the past too. You get to go and hang out with all of the cool geeks and nerds that want to be there, want to game. You get to get some swag. And in the end, you get to do some wonderful networking and learn a lot more about games-based stuff. Think of it as just a really cool, special kind of party hangout night for gamers and gaming librarians. There is trivia that we also offer and facilitate. People love a good bit of games trivia. And then finally, every single year, the president also has a program at ALA Annual where I think the point is really outline some of the initiatives they want to focus on behalf of the roundtable to move forward all the great things we're doing when it comes to games and libraries in this country.
Awesome. So now I'm going to talk about how to get involved. This is something that I think can be kind of opaque and is why I started this new member orientation because I was just told by a colleague many years ago, hey, join GameRT, they're cool. And I didn't know how to do that, so I just kind of lurked in the background in some board meetings. And then COVID hit, and then I started lurking again, and now I'm president. I'm hoping to make how to get involved a little more clear. So, formally, ways to get involved. You can do what I did. You can attend board meetings. These are monthly. They're the second Thursday of each month. They are open to anybody. They happen at 12 p.m. Central on Zoom. We share the information on Connect and Discord. So, like I said, if you are not a member yet, but you want to kind of get a sense of what we're doing, what we're about, if we're worth your $15 on top of whatever the ALA fee is right now anyway, come join the board meetings. This is where we talk about kind of overarching things as a roundtable, and each month our committees report out on the work they're doing. So it's a great way to kind of get a sense of, okay, I don't know which committee I'd be most interested in. Let me come to the board meeting and hear what the committees are talking about to see where my interests align. Then once you figured that out, join a committee. These are groups that do focused work for GameRT. We'll go through a list of all of them in a minute, but they also meet once a month and may form subcommittees for special projects. So those are two ways to formally get involved.
There are also informal short-term opportunities for participating in games and gaming roundtable shenanigans as well. So, for example, you can contribute to the committee activities in some way. If there's a particular committee that you're interested in and that type of work they do, you could write a blog post, a guest blog post, participate in a live stream. Maybe you want to play through a new game that you're playing and showcase how that might be a really great fit in a library setting. You could present a webinar, just say, hey, there's this subject that I really think would be valuable for the games and gaming roundtable audience to absorb. And you can reach out to us, and we'd love to help facilitate and platform the great voices of games-based library leaders in this nation out there. So you can also ask to volunteer for short-term projects. There are some exploratory committees. Sometimes it's like a subcommittee situation that has a specific focus. There are events that you can volunteer to assist with. Obviously, ALA Annual is one of those, as well as the March MiniCon. There are presidential initiatives that our current and past president are often focusing on that are looking for people that want to throw their hat in the ring and assist with things. I know, for example, our past president, Danielle, is really focused on AI and how that overlaps with the games and library space. Super valuable and very important right now. So if that's a subject that interests you, there will be opportunities to volunteer and make your voice heard. But like I mentioned also, finally, volunteer at ALA Annual. You can work at the exhibit booth, share what we're about. And again, ultimately, it's bringing together this community of practice at ALA once a year where we have our voices get to come together. We get to hang out and we get to network and build better relationships.
Just some last very informal spots to get involved. Like I mentioned, participating in Discord. This is, I think, our most well-used resource we have. Anybody can contribute. I can drop the link in chat in just a moment to join our Discord. Um, it's a great place to ask questions. We have a special channel just for game publishers and vendors who come and give us updates on cool stuff they're doing or if they have a library discount. Um, but it's a great place for brainstorming. You can also follow us on our social media accounts. We did recently this summer abandon Meta platforms, but we are still on YouTube and Twitch. This is where we stream a lot of our programming and also share things that GameRT is up to. Check our blog, which always has some cool content. And then in our Discord, if you are somebody who's wanting to run game programs, but maybe don't feel as confident in maybe running a session of Honey Heist, that is something that you can find willing participants to join you on our Discord for kind of an informal, hey, can we test out how I would run this game, please?
Yeah, what would it be if we could, what would it be if we couldn't game together, right? That's the whole point of this, right? So now we're going to get into the actual specific committees, and I think this is one of the ways in which Games and Gaming Roundtable just has a really wonderful setup in terms of how it's organized. Because for me as somebody who participates on these committees, as well as who will be taking over the presidential role in the future in a future year, it's very clear what the missives are of these committees. And it's very easy then to rally around these things and do great work together. So one of the most important and one of the coolest ones, I think, is the Game On Grant Committee. The purpose of this is to judge applications for our annual Game On Grant, which is a $1,000 grant. We're able to give away one or two each year to libraries that are applying to ask for some sort of assistance to be able to develop some sort of new games-based collection or program in their library space. The term for the Game On Grant Committee is January through December. The 25 chair for the committee is Rebecca Strang, and the 26 chair is going to be Joshua Newport. And ultimately, the major project that we are involved in on this grant committee is awarding the grant, reviewing the applications, and deciding what is going to be the most exciting way that the Games and Gaming Roundtable Grant Committee can fund awesome games-based library services efforts. So you can see, for example, in 2025, which is great. You can see a difference between 2022, 2023, and 2024, where there was one winner. And then in 2025, we were able to have two winners, the Johnsburg Public Library District and the University of Southern Mississippi Libraries Cook Library. I'll also talk a little bit about the awards committee. This is a committee that I'm on with the inimitable George Bergstrom, who is also here with us. He's the chair of this committee this year. Thank you, George. The point of this is to run and maintain the annual Platinum Play Award for best games in any format for library use. Again, the term July through June, and I already mentioned George being the chair. But this is such a cool opportunity for us as subject matter experts in the library space to organize a body of knowledge that is valuable and useful to people in the future about what are some of the great exemplar games for use in library spaces. We have both the Platinum Play Awards, which is intended for more recent games that have been developed, and then we also have the Platinum Play Classics, which are for older games that have a place in library land, especially ones that maybe had a legendary impact on library land back in the day, but maybe aren't as easy to get anymore. Things like Guitar Hero, it's harder to get some of the accoutrements for that, but it still has its place as a very valuable game in the library world. And yeah, that's the awards committee. So ultimately, right now, we do have folks can nominate a game. Right now, you can go to the Games and Gaming Roundtable website and you can nominate a game for the 2026 Platinum Play Awards. And so if there's any games out there that you feel are very valuable and should be highlighted, you can go to our website, check out the details for how to nominate a game. And you can also check out past winners.
Next up is our outreach committee. Their purpose is to promote membership and involvement in GameRT and ALA. This is a year term from once ALA annual is over till the next ALA annual ends. Right now, we have co-chairs Jennifer Taylor and Tyler Kerstetter. The major projects for outreach are posting to Discord. They're the ones who have our questions of the week to get our members engaged and talking about the games we do at work. They also maintain our blog and website. And so if you are interested in that kind of work, making sure the work that the Roundtable is doing is seen, this is a great committee to join. Next slide, please. And if you are interested in the outreach committee, we'll mention at the end how to actually join these committees. They are on a regular timetable. But if you're interested and want to kind of see what kind of work this is about, one opportunity is to write a blog post. This is actually one of the very first things I did back in 2019. I wrote up a quick blog post about a 5-minute breakout box that I did for some outreach events at my library. So we're always looking for new ideas, librarians sharing game events that they have done and the results. This is a great way to kind of get involved even before joining as a member.
We also have the program planning committee. I believe it's our largest committee, and in no small part, it's because of all of the stuff they have to organize. We need many hands to make light work. But as we kind of highlighted earlier, the programs are some of the more formal organized events that are coordinated to facilitate participation with you all out there. One of the big things that the programming planning committee does is organizes programming for ALA Annual. They also do virtual events, like we mentioned, the March MiniCon, and other events where practical. The term again is July through June. The co-chairs are George Bergstrom, who is here with us, Rebecca Strang, and Colin Post, who's the fellow I mentioned earlier with the Digital Games and Libraries project. And the major projects that they plan are planning ALA activities, including Guild of Mysteries and ALA Play, that great kind of fun game night that happens at ALA I talked about, helping coordinate live streams of webinars, gameplay, and then in the spring, doing things like MiniCon and in fall, the Roundtable Spectacular. And thank you. Yes, Amber, that's such a great point to remind me. We used to have an International Games Month committee, but that work has, from what I can tell, largely been absorbed by the programming committee. And International Games Month is a big deal. So thank you also to everybody for making International Games Month happen right now that are on the programming committee. And if there's plenty of ways for non-members to get involved and to assist with some of the cool things that are happening in the programming space with Games and Gaming Roundtable. You can volunteer at ALA Annual, like we mentioned. You must attend the conference in person if you want to do that, because we really need that on-hand assistance. The call for volunteers goes out around May, so keep an eye out this coming year, and you're going to want to sign up using the volunteer form for the subsequent year. Um, we have some virtual programming, all sorts of different goodies here. If you have an idea for a website or a game you'd like to demo, we have a link to the proposal form right there. And sometimes we just need players for things. Amber mentioned earlier doing like Honey Heist. Sometimes people just need extra players for these things that somebody else wants to facilitate. These are opportunities that can be shared via the general membership on ALA Connect, but you can also contact the co-chairs for virtual programming if to let them know if you're interested. Calls will go out via Connect to general membership for the Spectacular and the MiniCon. And thank you. Yeah, Amber, looks like I didn't get that updated here, that the current virtual programming chair is Colin Post. So he's the one you're going to want to contact if you want to do that. And then the calls for the Guild of Mysteries will go out via Connect to the general membership as well in January. So remember to refer back to these slides. There's all sorts of things that you can look out for, and you can always contact us if you need some clarification.
Whoop, got distracted putting our CFP for the March MiniCon in the chat. We also have our strategic planning committee. This committee is helmed by our Sage Mage. So this is kind of their way to wrap up everything they plan to do with the presidential term. The purpose is to pull an outreach membership and prospective members to figure out how to best steer GameRT moving forward to serve people who are interested in games and libraries. As Sage Mage, Danielle is our current chair, and major projects include maintaining relationships and the contact list for a larger gaming community, and monitor and reporting on changes in the gaming world that the roundtable at large should be aware of for identifying priorities moving forward.
And also, last but certainly not least, I think this is last. Let me just double check. Yeah, the metadata committee. These are the amazing folks that are creating the language, the often the verbiage that will be used in terms of classifying and categorizing games of all different sorts in library catalogs. These are people that create resources to aid in cataloging and processing games into library collections. We also right now, I say we, they also right now are potentially working on some sort of gamified approach to teaching cataloging and navigating in ILS. So we're hoping to ultimately explore how games can be a wonderful way to illuminate more of the kind of mysteries that often people feel about metadata and cataloging. I'm certainly not a pro cataloger, so when I see these folks do this work, it blows my mind. And I'm and current chair Mackenzie Johnson, he's amazing, is going to try to make work on different ways to make that more clear for folks throughout the U.S. So yeah, definitely, if you're interested in metadata, if you're a geek for this stuff, they're a really cool group to get involved with as well. And yeah, if you want to learn more about what each committee does, please use the link that Amber just popped into chat. We have the links on the slides here. You can learn all sorts about all the different committees and other opportunities to get involved.
So if you've heard all of this and you're like, GameRT sounds amazing, how do I join? Maybe you heard about a committee that you were super excited to join. We sent out our GameRT volunteer form. It is open year round, but the incoming president will be the one who kind of assigns people to committees. So if you are interested, please fill out this form anytime before May 31st. This is next May. We're thinking very far ahead. Um, Indicate which committees you are interested in. We try to give everybody their first pick. Sometimes, if you pick two, we'll put you on two. Um, Appointments will be decided in June 2026, and then those terms for everything except for the grant committee will start in July. So you'll get emails from your committee chair, and they'll arrange meetings, and then you can join in all our fun shenanigans. Um, Sometimes we review these throughout the year if, say, a committee has a membership drop and we need to fill some seats and get some more active members involved. So again, you can fill this form out at any time and you could be contacted, but you will definitely be assigned to a committee in June of next year. And if you have any questions, please feel free to send them my way, or you can contact any of the chairs that are listed on the slide for a particular committee you are interested in joining.
I'm on 3 committees this year and I'm loving it. I got to say, it's the right amount for me. So you can definitely participate in all sorts of different ways. And it's pretty, obviously, it's formal in what we are hoping to achieve, but it's informal in terms of how I would say we navigate it. So it's not like you're signing something in blood and saying, oh God, I got to be stuck for this all the time. So I really encourage people to dive in and get involved. Um, as for information sharing, right, this is another big thing that I think that the ALA Games and Gaming Roundtable helps facilitate that nobody else nationally really does this way when it comes to game space library services. And that's why it's so valuable that even if you don't join a committee, even if you can't come to ALA Annual, even if you're not the type of person who wants to present at the March MiniCon, this is just such an amazing community of practice to get involved with, where you can info share about what you're doing and you can borrow what you see in our community of practice and share it out with your networks wherever you are based. So I recommend everybody, for example, who is a part of Games and Gaming Roundtable can check out ALA Connect, where we share volunteer opportunities with the larger membership, and each committee will share meeting information as well. We also will have information from the executive board when new bits of information pop up that we need to share. In terms of social media, the biggest one now is Discord. As we mentioned, I will also say this is one of the best run Discord groups I've been a part of. It's really, really well run. So you'll have a lot of assistance there if you're not familiar with Discord. And if it seems a little bit intimidating, I promise you before you know it, you'll be right at home. But Discord is used frequently by both members and non-members, and there are all sorts of general conversations, committee discussions. If you, for example, have an event related to games or libraries in your state or your community, and you're like, hey, I think other people might be interested in this, there's a place where you can share that information. So it might come across other people's desks. And also, the committees will, in addition to the Discord and our social media use there, committees will share formal information as well via ALA Connect. They have dedicated Discord channels, so it's a great place on that Discord to talk about the specific subjects that they're focused on. And the subcommittees will determine the best ways to communicate and how to work within themselves. And then every single month at our monthly board meetings, the committees will give a report where you can really get an update about what's going on in them. So again, even if you're not a part of a committee, if you join the board meetings, you'll be able to get an idea of what is happening in Games and Gaming Roundtable on a monthly basis. And then you'll hopefully identify other ways to get involved.
If you at any point have any questions, we're going to talk about in a minute about we've got some Meeple at Large positions opening up for next term that are a great way to get involved in GameRT in a kind of general sense. General questions, if you're already a member of GameRT, you can throw them in our GameRT Connect space that goes out to all of our members. Of course, you could use the Discord. You'll get an answer there very quickly. And of course, you can email any of us in the presidential team directly. I can drop my email in chat in just a minute. We're full of friendly people. If you're ever unsure who or where to ask, you can go through any of these routes. There's also the GameRT email. We have a schedule of who answers these emails when, so it's checked many times a week. And we'll make sure you get directed to the right person. You drop my email.
So, current events, right? What's going on, right? Well, there's not too much going on right now other than November being International Games Month. So I guess that is kind of a big deal. Right now there is 2025 registration. I added the link there. We have lots of promotional materials with updated logos for 2025. You can check out the International Games Month sponsor. If you know of somebody who'd want to be an International Games Month sponsor, or you maybe whoever's watching here has tons of deep pockets and you want to give all the money in the world to International Games Month, Games and Gaming Roundtable, you can do that as well there. And then there's also an opportunity to learn more about International Games Month history if by clicking that last link.
All right, and as I mentioned, if you are looking to become more involved in GameRT, there are several different ways to do it. If you don't want to wait until next May to volunteer for one of our committees, we do have several board positions that are open. The deadline to apply for these is December 12th. Let me throw that link in chat real quick. But we are currently looking for somebody to join our Mage Trio. So this is a great leadership opportunity. We are a very supportive group of folks. There's a lot of institutional knowledge, a lot of documentation. I know when it was suggested that I run for mage, I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Who's going to put me in charge of this thing? But there's a lot of support for being in this role. We're also looking for a treasurer and secretary. But like I mentioned, if you are here and you've maybe been a member but haven't joined any committees, or you're brand new, Meeples at Large is a really accessible way to join the Games and Gaming Roundtable and get a sense of things. This is a board position. It is not, however, a formal ALA elected position anymore. ALA got rid of members at large. Elected at the ALA level, we will still be holding elections internally for the member at large position. And so, as I mentioned, these are people who come to our board meetings every month, contribute to the discussion and voting and decision making on the direction of the roundtable, and also serve as committee chairs if needed. So that application will be formed separately, putting together an ad hoc committee as we speak to manage those applications. But these are all great ways to get involved.
And yeah, I think that's we're about wrapping up with our content here. So we both say thank you. We're so glad you're here, and wondering if anybody have any specific questions. After today, before we get to the questions, I want to highlight that we do have a form that folks can fill out to give us feedback for how you feel this orientation went. You can give us advice if there's things that you think that we could improve or be more clear about. Or if you just want to give a shout out and say that this was helpful, that helps, of course, guide us in the future to know that we are giving the information that folks will find valuable. So I think, yeah, that's it for the content we have here. I guess now would be as good a time as any to ask, does anybody have any questions?
And I will go ahead and stop the recording.
Thanks, Amber.